This video contains content that may be confronting.
A new report by Human Rights Watch has detailed mass killings committed by the Rwanda-backed M23 armed group in the Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo this year. It found more than 140 people were killed by the group in villages and farming areas in July, in what the organisation calls one of the worst atrocities in the country since late 2021. A warning: this story contains details viewers may find disturbing. I'm joined now by Human Rights Watch's Central Africa Director, Lewis Mudge. Lewis, hi there. Thank you so much for your time this morning. This report details the deaths of at least 140 people. Can you take me through the major findings of this report and who's been targeted?
Good morning, and thank you for having me. I'm happy to walk you through the report. I think it's important to note that, yes, we've documented over 140 killed. Our report is actually coming on the heels of a UN report in which well over 300 were documented according to their methodologies killed. So we strongly think our numbers are really just scratching the surface. To get to the actual core findings, Rwanda has basically since 1996, since just a couple of years after the genocide, they've had proxy militias in the Congo. We're seeing the latest iteration of that with the M23. And this killing, these killings that occurred north of the eastern city of Goma in the Rutshuru province, really represent some of the worst killings we've documented by this group. They went in July and into early August on an offensive against another armed group, a group called the FDLR. But what they did was they conflated civilians. So we saw women, children, boys being summarily executed by M23 rebels and by, in some instances, Rwandan troops who were on the ground. We don't have documentation that the Rwandan troops were actually participating in the killings, but they were certainly on the ground. And this is de facto a Rwanda-backed militia. So this is really the onus of these crimes does fall on Rwanda.
Can you take me through how you've come to these conclusions, that the methodology that you flagged around coming to this report?
Yeah, sure. Look, M23 took control of Goma in the beginning of the year. This wasn't the first time they took control of Goma. They took it in 2012. I was in Goma when they took it. We had to shut down our offices and we had to evacuate staff. We are barred from working in Rwanda. And as you can imagine, the M23 is not going to be an organization that likes UN investigators, groups like Amnesty International, or groups like us at Human Rights Watch. But what we do have is we have well over 25 years of experience working in the region. We have a vast team that works on the ground in the eastern DRC. Some of our people have stayed in the east. We had to evacuate some staff to Kinshasa, but we also have a vast array of fixers and contacts who are able to get information for us. So we are very, very confident in the numbers that we came up to. They were triangulated. We have photographic evidence, video evidence, and we've also have satellite evidence that really does demonstrate that M23 did take an extraordinary step in the last few years, which was really to begin to summarily execute these civilians.
M23 has previously denied taking part in violence like this. Did you get any response from them in putting this report together?
Yeah, we reached out to both the government of Rwanda and to M23. We used to have pretty good contact with M23. When we started to report on the abuses that they were carrying out over the last 24 months, they started to cut contact with us. Look, full disclosure, we also report on abuses by the government of Congo, which by no means are angels in this conflict at all. So we reach out to everyone. Unfortunately, they have not been willing to engage with us. They do a blanket denial of the results that we've come up with, of the results that the United Nations comes up with. Reuters did their own investigation, and they simply say that this is not true, but it's just really beginning to fall on deaf ears. There are so many incidences now since since this latest iteration of this rebellion of serious crimes carried out by this group with Rwandan support, that these denials are just beginning to just have no value whatsoever in the eyes of the broader international community.
These reports, both yours and the UN's, come despite peace processes between Rwanda and the Democratic Republic of Congo sort of brokered by the US and Qatar. These peace processes have been ongoing, and these agreements, have they had any impact on the ground?
Look, I think broadly any peace process that can protect civilian lives, for us at Human Rights Watch, that's a good thing. The ones that are being brokered by Washington have a very, Trump has been very, very clear that he wants Western investments in minerals, especially critical minerals in the Eastern DRC, and he sees this peace process as a means of getting that. I think that's great. If that means that less people are going to die. Same with Qatar, same with what's being brokered out of Doha. There are certainly economic interests in the Middle East with regards to what's happening in the Eastern DRC. But the fact is that there is a ability to look at these things without a nuanced prism that is a little frustrating. Yet there is certainly a minerals for peace deal could be brokered, but it's not going to be that easy. And I think that the players in Washington, the players in Doha need to realize that they're dealing with a group that is really going to play for time. M23 is absolutely, they're going to try to solidify their strongholds. They control mines. They're going to want to, kick Congolese forces out further and further on the periphery as they control their administrative states. And they're absolutely going to use these processes to play for time. And they're going to do that with continued Rwanda support. And the sooner that Qatar and the United States understand that and really begin to hold Rwanda and M23 accountable for these crimes, the sooner that there could be a real and tangible deal. But for the time being, unfortunately, we're seeing them take Rwanda and we're seeing them take M23 at face value. And until that stops, I think we're going to see more and more of these crimes continue.